Okay, let me put into practice all the things that I've been teaching on my YouTube account, so giving financial advice. So look at the profile of this person. He is a 31-year-old male and he is single and a psychometrician. So this person has been my client since 2018 at meron na siyang dalawang insurance policies sa akin. So isang hospitalization, we call it AXA Healthcare Access, and the second one is a retirement funding, which is Accelerator. By the way, this VUL is not actually being offered anymore by my company, but of course, hindi naman pwede namin i-abandon yon. So still active, but yung accelerator na to napalitan na ng My Life Choice and mapapalitan na siya ng Vision Achiever. So it's fine kahit mapalitan siya, nagbabago lang yung ilang benefits, but still active pa naman to at kaya pa rin i-serve yung purpose niya. Okay, let's go kung ano yung concern niya. According to him, meron siyang gustong i-request sa akin. The service request, sabi niya, I want to review my policies and I want your advice on the general outlook of my finances. So, dalawa na kagad to. Balikan kung ano yung mga coverage ng policies niya. At pangalawa, tingnan namin kung ano na yung itsura ng financial health niya as of the moment. Now, the second one is I am planning to resign. So, this is very specific sa kanya. He is planning to resign on his job and he wanted an advice para sa management ng kanyang finance hanggang sa makahanap siya ng panibagong trabaho. So, yung transition period gusto niya. Okay, now, ano naman ang gagawin ko dito as financial advisor niya? The first is for me to check his insurance coverage. So, yung muna yung sagutin natin. So, pinull out ko from my own records yung kanyang policies and ito yung nakita ko. So, the first one is Accelerator. Now, the Accelerator is a VUL, which is an insurance with investment coverage na mas focus siya on the investment. So, mababa lang ang life insurance nito kasi most of his money is mapupunta dun sa pag-grow ng money. Ngayon, ang reason na kung ba't siya kumuha nito is for retirement funding. As early as possible, gusto na niyang mapondohan yung kanyang VUL. Kaya, nag-agree kami na siya ay magbabayad ng 41,133 per year or 3,427.75 per month. So, 3,400. So, ano ang kapalit nito? So, yung 3,400 niya per month, babayaran daw niya ng 10 years. So, if you're going to compute for it, ang total premium na babayaran niya would be 411,000. So, multiply lang natin to by 10. Now, ang kanyang trajectory para sa investment is at age 60. Remember, this person is 31-year-old pa lang. At medyo matagal na niyang nasimulan tong insurance coverage na to noong 2018 pa, so 7 years ago. So, ibig sabihin, kung 31 to, nasa 24 lang siya yata nag-start nun. Okay. So, at age 60, sa pinakamababang cumulative interest rate, which is 4%. Masyado itong mababa. Generally, si AXA, mga 8 to 10% siguro ang nagiging average interest niya. Pero, as conservative approach, i-assume natin yung pinakamababang pwede, assuming na natalo yung buong market for the rest of the years hanggang sa mag-mature to. Yung 411,000 na total payment niya, yung 10 years, ay magiging 1.1 million at age 60. So, nasa 7th year of paying na to si client. So, ang mangyayari sa kanya, 3 years na yung magbayad, iwanan niya yung pera na yon at age 60, kunin niya magiging 1.1 million na. So, if you are going to see the growth from 411,000, more than double na yung amount kasi 1.1 na yung makukuha. So, ito na yung pera niya as of October 24, so days ago. Today is October 29, 2025. So, kinuha ko yung latest report and the balance is already at 257,928. So, it's 258,000 na. Kung gusto niya itong kunin for whatever reason, pwede niya itong withdrawin as it is. Wala na itong charges. Kasi for this kind of plan, yung first 5 years lang yung merong surrender charge. So, ibig sabihin, pag gusto na niya kunin ito 257, partial man yan or buong amount, pwede niya makuha kasi pera naman na niya yan. Pero syempre, pag kinuha na niya yan, syempre mababawasan yung ipon niya at least ng amount na i-withdraw niya. Kung kinuha niya yan lahat, wala siya uli ng retirement plan. Okay, ganun siya nag-work. The only rider ng accelerator na binili niya is the waiver of premium or disability insurance. So kung sakaling ma-disable to si client, makakatanggap siya ng 150,000 cash. Okay, so yun ang report ng kanyang accelerator or retirement funding insurance. Now, nasa growth account yon kasi naglalagay siya ng pera, pinapalago niya. Yun yung parang pinakain niya rito. Sa security account niya, ito pala, bago sa security account, meron daw siyang other growth accounts. Kasi sa educational funding, wala naman siyang anak, so wala siyang investment dito. Freedom funding, meron siyang freedom fund pero hindi na niya dinisclose sa akin. Pera na niya yun. It's fine. Okay lang naman na hindi disclose sa akin lahat kung hindi naman yun directly impacting kung ano yung current na mga concern niya na gustong i-address. Pero sinabi niya na meron akong other growth account na magmamature sa 2027 na 1.3M. Okay, that's good. Hindi ko alam kung saan ito nakalagay. Pwedeng sa money market, pwedeng sa forex, etc. Pero sabi niya sa akin, ito lang yung magiging status nun. So at least, ipuput ko yan into consideration when I give advice. Now, for the security account naman, bumili siya sa akin ng Healthcare Access Prime. So, this is a hospitalization insurance. Nagbabayad siya ng 29,517 per year o pumapatak na 2,459 o 2,500 per month. Ano ang kapalit nun? Meron siyang 500,000 coverage na card na pwede niya magamit for common illness. So, hindi kailangan critical. Kailangan, pag magpapa-hospital siya, inpatient, outpatient, physical exam, meron siyang 500,000 na pwedeng magamit na card. At naglagay siya ng rider, critical illness coverage. So, ibig sabihin, pag nagkasakit siya ng critical illness, meron na siyang 500,000 na magagamit na card, may magpe-pay out pa na 500,000 na pera. So, pagpalagay natin na ang sakit niya ay critical illness, so parang tumutotal 1 million yung coverage niya. 500,000 card, and then makakatanggap siya ng pera, pwede niya pambayad ng bills yun. Kung kulang yung 500,000. Kung sakto lang naman yun, at least magagamit yung pera na yun para magpahinga muna siya, mag-recover, pambili ng gamot niya, etc. Pero yan yung current na insurance coverage niya. At how much? Nagbabayad siya ng 3,500 for accelerator or 3,400 rounding down. And then 2,500 para sa kanyang health fund. So yan na yung status ng insurance niya as of this date. Now, nagtanong ko ng ilang questions para malaman ng financial health niya. According to number 1, ang saving status niya meron siyang at least 3 times ng kanyang living expenses. Now, sa budget naman niya, sabi niya meron siyang structured budget. So, namomonitor niya yung income tsaka expenses niya. Maganda dito, meron siyang consistent cash inflow through salaries kasi nagtatrabaho siya sa psychometrician ngayon bago pa siya mag-resign. Number 4, kamusta may outlook ng outflow niya? Sabi niya, meron siyang rough estimate. So, ibig sabihin, hindi stable. Hindi isa yung, kunyari, kuryente, hindi naman stable yon. Pero may rough estimate siya kung ilan yung percentage na nakukuha ng mga expenses niya. Number 5, wala naman daw siyang utang, so good. Number 6 is yung protection coverage, yung diniscuss ko kanina. Sabi niya, alam niyang meron siya, hindi niya lang alam kung enough. So, sasagutin ko yun later. Number 7, meron ba siyang investment? Ayun, diniscuss siya kanina, meron siyang currency-based investment na magmamature ng 2027. At number 8, kamusta naman ang identity niya as different stages of wealth, kung nasa na siya. According to him, he is financially secure. So, ibig sabihin ng financially secure, kaya na niyang i-sustain yung expenses niya through his income. Meron na rin mga wants na mga luho na nafi-finansan at it doesn't really matter kasi kaya ng kita niya yon. Tapos kung sakaling magkaroon ng emergency, hindi na siya takot kasi meron siyang enough fund para sagutin yung emergency fund kung hindi man yun super laki. Okay, so yun ang financial health. So this person is generally healthy financially sa paningin ko. So ang pwede kong i-advise dito is improvement na lang para sa paglaki rin or growth ng kanyang career. Yon ang pwede kong i-advise sa kanya. So ito yung itsura ng budgeting niya according to him. Sabi niya, ang needs niya, kalahati ng income niya na pupunta sa needs. So para sa sustenance ng living expenses niya. May 25% ng kita niya para i-fund yung mga wants niya. Tinanong ko kung ano mga wants niya like gym membership, paying off ilang gadgets sa kinuha niya, tapos yung mga kain-kain sa labas, meeting with friends, so yun yung mga 25% niya. Pero, secret sa kanya yung another 25%. Meron siyang retirement funding, so yun yung accelerator more or less. 10% yung nilalagay daw niya doon every month para makaipon at ilagay sa kanyang accelerator. 8% napupunta sa freedom fund. So ito yung hindi niya dinisclose sa akin, pero nilalagay niya yung parang isang account niya ng savings para if ever man meron siyang mga options in life, hindi siya ma-restrict, meron siyang paghuhugutan. So, freedom fund yon. And then, consistent siya naglalagay ng 7% sa kanyang health fund. So, yun yung itsura ng budgeting niya. Now, let's go to the advice. Now, for the advice, tama yung thinking niya that he is a financially secured person. Kasi ang ibig sabihin lang naman nito is meron kang emergency fund at hindi ka masyadong matatakot kung biglang nagkaroon ng emergency in your life. So, ganun nga yung status niya. Needs, wants, ilang ipon na gagawa niya, plus meron siyang emergency fund na nakatabi. Now, sa growth account niya, ang advice ko kasi dito, yung accelerator na binili niya, yung amount na 3,500, yung 41,000. 10 years niya lang babayaran yon. So, 411,000. Ngayon, yung 411,000, napalaguman namin siya, magiging 1.1 at least after 60 years old. Ngayon, titignan mo kung enough yon. 60 years old siya magre-retire, let's just say the average life expectancy of Filipino is 80 years old. So may 20 years siyang walang trabaho. Question is, enough ba yung 1.1 million na yun? So ang ginawa ko, dinivide ko yun by 20 years, dinivide ko by 12 para sa monthly pension, kumbaga, papatak lang na 4,583. Now imagine, this person is 31 years old, 60 pa magre-retire to. So, ibig sabihin, yung 4-5 in the future, definitely masyadong maliit na to. So, ngayon, ang pwede kong suggestion siguro sa kanya na since meron naman siyang discipline to fund up for retirement, instead of just settling dun sa 10 years na yon, may chance na siyang mapalago yun kung continue siyang magbabayad up to age 60 years old. So ngayon, kung ganun yung mangyayari up to 60 years old, kinompute ko yan, so 41,133. Kung nagsimula siya ng 25 years old tapos magtitigal siya ng 60 years old, papalo na 25, 35, 45, 55. So 35 years times 35, mga 1.4 million ang magiging total premium niya. Pero sa projection, sa pinakamababa na interest na pwede niyang kuhanin sa BUL, kayang madoble yon, magiging 3 million na yon. Now, at least we will start there. Wala siyang gagalawin masyado sa budgeting niya. All he needs to do is to continue paying for the BUL kahit lumampas na yung 10 years. And it will drastically improve kung ano yung pwede niya makuha sa retirement. So, yun ang nakikita kong pwedeng i-advise sa kanyang growth account. Now, for the insurance coverage naman, yung health fund niya, ang maganda, he is responsibly allotting money for health fund. And since hindi ito naiipon, ang suggestion ko is for him to continue yung annual physical exam niya para mapangalagaan yung health niya. Pero if ever man siguro magsasuggest ako ng improvement, yung critical illness kasi, ang suggestion is at least 800 to 1.2 million dapat to. Kung meron na siyang 500,000 hospitalization plus 500,000 critical illness, so ibig sabihin, 1 million na yon. Enough na yon for now, pero remember, since rider lang si critical illness, hindi to up to age 100. So, pwede siyang kumuha separate, basta pwede namin i-improve ang critical illness. Pero since wala naman siyang sinasabing extra budget niya, this could be planned for the future. Now, dun tayo sa may budgeting niya. Ano naman yung nakikita ko dito? Ang operations fund is comprised of the needs and the wants of the client. At pumapatak na 75% na yun sa kanya. Ang growth account, yung mga account na pinapalago mo, whether may reason ka para palaguin yon or wala. Kung wala kang designated purpose, freedom fund. Pag merong designated purpose, isulat mo yun, retirement sa kanya. 18% ng pera niya napupunta doon. 7% naman ang napupunta sa security account niya. Ang security account ay emergency fund plus insurances. So, naka 7% yan. So, pag ako ang magbibigay ng advice, okay na meron na yung tatlong accounts na yon, pero pwede pa daming improve. Since this person is planning to resign and look for additional job, ito yung pwede kong i-suggest sa kanya. For the operations account, the improvement would be drastic kung sakali man. Kahit siguro hindi drastic, progressive natin gawin. For the next 12 months after you transfer to the new job, yung 75% allotment mo for needs and wants, gawin mong 65%. So, pagka nakuha mo na yung bago mong salary sa bago mong trabaho, try mong i-manage na maging 65% ang needs and wants mo. Do not worry kasi 50% sagot na kagad ng needs eh. So, ang mababawasan technically yung wants. But since mas mataas na yung bracket nun, kung mas mataas na yung income mo, this could be a good chance for you to improve your allotment percentage, yung budgeting technique mo. So, babawasan natin yung operations fund mo ng 10% because I would like you to put that in your growth and your security account. So, try mong practicein for the next 12 months simula magkaroon ka ng bagong trabaho na 65% ang ilagay mo doon. Now, yung 18% na growth, gawin mong 25%. Hindi mo kailangan bumili ng kahit ano sa akin. I-discipline mo lang yung sarili mo for the next 12 months na mas mataas na yung naiipon mo. I-park mo na lang muna lahat sa Freedom Fund. At least, during the 12-month period, matcha-check natin kung kaya mo siyang i-sustain. And then, yung 7% na security account mo, gawin nating 10%. So, try mong i-park muna sa Freedom Fund yung mga excess kasi 7% na nilalagay mo eh. So, yung additional 3% siguro, ilagay mo lang sa Freedom Fund mo. And magbabago pa itong mga percentage na to pag may bago kang trabaho, right? So, kung meron mang extra, kunin mo yung 10%, lahat bayaran mo yung health fund mo, tsaka yung health fund mo, bayaran mo. Tapos, ipunin mo lang for the next 3 months yung nagiging sobra. And then, talk to me. Titingnan ko kung yung amount na sobra will be eligible to improve your insurance pa. Kasi there are some insurances na pwedeng magpa-improve sa'yo. Tapos tingin ko for now, the priority is for you to improve your health fund pa. Okay, na hindi masyadong magiging malaki yung impact sa kabuuan ng pera mo. Kasi we'll be talking about 10% here eh. So this is a typical advice for people na nasa budgeting. Kasi imagine, your security account should improve as well habang nag-improve yung income mo together with the growth account. And then eventually, ang plano natin dyan is palitin na palitin yung percentage ng operations account para mas malaki na yung wiggle way natin dito sa growth and security account mo. Okay? Now, comment on job switch. So, according sa mga answer mo, meron ka ng 3 plus worth of money for your emergency fund. So, this is the typical use of emergency fund. Gamitin mo yung pondo na yon para ma-fund up yung sarili mo, mabayaran yung expenses mo nang hindi ka masyadong nasa stress habang naghahanap ka ng trabaho. So, you are not in the position naman para ma-stress na once na ikaw ay mawalan ng trabaho, magkaroon ka kagad ng trabaho. At least now, alam mo na minimum 3 months kaya kong mabuhay. So that you could have time to reflect on your job offers and then pick the best job na lilipatan mo. Okay? Yung no inflow na yon, hindi mo kailangan katakutan kasi meron ka namang emergency fund. Yun yung gusto kong sabihin. Tapos, during the time, kung kaya mo magtipid, bawasan yung unnecessary expenses mo kasi that's 25% eh. Bawasan mo para mas ma-prolong pa yung month na pwede ka mag-isip. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung biglang may job offer kagad eh. Kung tumagal man yan, at least meron kang easy, kumbaga. Meron kang hindi ka masyadong pressured na kailangan ito yung worth nito kasi ito lang yung nag-offer sa akin. Okay? Tapos, i-expect mo na lang din, ilagay mo na sa expectation mo na once na nakalipat ka ng panibagong trabaho, hindi ka agad kikitain for the first month kasi based on experience, hindi na sa-settle kagad ng payroll department yan. Siguro at least 1 month pa na nagtatrabaho ka, baka wala pang salary yon. So, i-account mo yon. Plus, meron pang mga gastos pag nag-apply ka. So, don't forget that. But nevertheless, I wish you good luck sa finding new job mo. I suggest siguro yung advisor-client meeting natin pag nag-settle ka na sa new role mo. Para ma-review ka lang kung ano yung dapat mong gawin. And then afterwards, yung 3 months and then 12 months na typical na meeting natin, ituloy natin. Okay? So, that is my advice and I hope you learned something from it. If you have any other question, feel free. For those of you who are watching who wanted advice, this is a free advice naman kasi ito ay ginagamit ko for content creation. So I promise confidentiality, I won't be disclosing kung sino itong mga client na to. But definitely, this kind or this model could be applied to you as well. But if you want specific advice, PM me and I'll create a financial advice for you. Thank you.